Happy mid-morning, guys. All right, still Monday and kind of cruising through what's going on in the world, finding things out. You know me, I'll check the economics of the country constantly to find out what's going on. And I got kicked in the cojones to find out something this morning. And you guys probably want to know this. And I'm going to give you some bits and pieces of a little bit of research I did here. Right now, 125 million Americans, 63% of the country, we don't include kids in this, working age Americans, live paycheck to paycheck. Okay. 60% of millennials who make over $100,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. That's scary in itself. That'll tell you right there about the over consumerism that we have and how we are sold so well to buy this. It's the you'll die if you don't own this crap. You know how much I love that. Okay. How about this? Only 40% of Americans have enough money in savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. Okay. I mean, something simple like, oh, I don't know. You got to take the car to the shop. Anybody done that lately? That'll cost you. Okay. God forbid you lose a transmission or blow an engine. You're done. Okay. You can't pay it. 30% of Americans have no savings at all. 1/3 of the country, roughly. Okay. What we do have is an absolute mountain of credit card debt. $986 billion in credit card debt. That'll probably go over $1 trillion very soon. That is the most credit card debt ever that Americans have had. It averages out to about $8,000 a person, guys. Just giving you that, okay? Bidenflation, well, that's caused 1/4 of Americans to cut their retirement savings. Oops, okay? And 1/8, 12%, to quit saving entirely for retirement since last year. Why? Because everything's got so ridiculously expensive, people are going, I'm not worried about making it to 60. I'm worried about making it to next week. Okay. 1/3 of Americans said they found it difficult to make ends meet. That's up from 24% last year. Okay. So we've added 7% more, or I'm sorry, 9% more to the people who can't pay the monthly bills. All right. 26% of the public said that they were debt constrained. Okay. That's a 6-point rise from last year. 39% said they lacked sufficient savings to cover 1 month's worth of expenses. In other words, if they lost their job, they couldn't pay the bills by May 24th. Okay. This is Bidenflation. Okay. What's going to happen to these people when the economy gets worse? And please don't anybody say, oh, but the stock market, that's a casino for the rich and a fool's errand for the poor. Okay. Believe me, I worked it, remember? Okay. I can't tell you how many people I saw in my career who would come over, transfer their account to me, and they own shares in penny stocks, something under $5 is what's called a penny stock, thinking they own something that's going to be the next Amazon or Google. That's a casino. Okay. Sure. I'm putting it all on red. Okay. You aren't going to retire on 100 shares of Microsoft, which would cost you $28,500 today to buy, which, because we all have that just laying around going, honey, what do I do with almost 30 grand that's sitting here? Okay. Pension plans are underfunded. We know the pension plans aren't going to pay out. Okay. We keep hearing about Social Security getting cut or not even existing in 10 years. Okay. I mean, this is where we're going. Now, I want to be as transparent with you guys as I can, all right? Because I want you to know that what I tell you is actually what I do. My house is paid for. Both of my vehicles are paid for. Mrs. P and I have no credit card debt, all right? Our bills consist of our phone bill, our electric bill, our internet bill, health insurance for Mrs. P. I get mine through the VA, okay, and car insurance. Just those bills, I went back and calculated all these, were $10,883 last year. If I add the $1,800 I have to pay for home insurance, $1,200 I have to pay for property tax. Yes, guys, property tax is dirt cheap in Tennessee. Okay. Roughly $5,000 in food. Okay. And mind you, that's buying a side of beef and doing whatever. Okay. $1,680 in gasoline. We don't drive that much. Okay. Try to make our trips to town and do everything at once. Okay. But still, we spend about $140 a month on gas. Our annual bills for bare bones basic necessities is $20,563 for a year. That doesn't include anything like buying seeds or buying soil or whatever to plant my gardens, or I broke a shovel or whatever. That's the bare bones basics. That's what I got today and just to keep it running. Okay. I didn't even add income tax in there. Okay. If I collect Social Security when I'm 62, I will get about $1,500 a month. It's $18,000 a year. I got to cut back on something. I'm $2,500 short from my bare bones basic necessities with having my house paid off, my car paid off, and no debt. Okay. Food's the obvious one. So now I have to grow more food than I do now just so I can eat. Pretty much nothing else is in my control. Sure, I can get rid of my phone service or my internet service, or I not drive maybe. Okay, like I drive that much now. But basically, I need something to live on, to even just survive on. Okay. Fortunately, Mrs. P and I have a plan that we stick to, so we aren't going to be beholden to the government to live. Okay. The numbers that I gave you at the top of all of this don't say that for a lot of people in this country. A lot of people in this country are up for a rude awakening. Okay. Now I want to add something to the mix, and this is what's important to you. Maybe you noticed this, maybe you didn't. Last week, Moody's, Moody's Investment Services, downgraded 11 banks. If you have money of any sort, checking, savings, CDs, insurance, investments, you might want to spend Monday looking for another financial institution. Okay, because downgrades usually preclude failures. Just saying. Okay. If you got any of these banks, and I'm going to give you this. Signature Bank up in New York. Okay, this isn't a real big surprise on this one because we all saw what happened last month. Okay. Comerica, any of you guys up in Detroit? You might want to pay attention. Okay, Comerica's in trouble. First Republic Bank, we've talked about this one often. You can see what the stock price does. It's just getting hammered. Okay. Intrust Financial Corporation. How about UMB Financial Corp? Okay. Western Alliance Bank Corp. Western Alliance had I talked about this one too. Western Alliance has over half of their deposits that are uninsured. That caused an outflow of 11% in the first quarter of 2023. Okay. Banks don't have money. Banks have problems. Okay. Zions Bank Corp. And you guys in Utah, they lost $89 billion in assets in the first quarter. Associated Bank Corp. Anybody there? How about those of you in Hawaii? First Hawaiian Incorporated. They lost $24 billion in assets. Hawaii, probably not a whole lot of people outside of Hawaii who have accounts at First Hawaiian Bank. Just saying. Okay, they lost $24 billion. Washington Federal. There's one. Here's one y'all should know because we keep hearing there'll only be 6 banks left. U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank lost $682 billion in assets in the first quarter of 2023. How many of you have your mortgage at U.S. Bank? They're a big one. Okay. Why is this going on? And I want you to look at the commercial real estate market. Most of us really don't pay a whole lot of attention to it, but you got to look past what the media tells you. Okay. Right now, 15% of the commercially available real estate is vacant nationally. Okay. 15%. You're talking about what? 1 in 6 office space that's out there is empty. That means nobody's collecting rent on it. Okay. Want to go into specific cities? How about this? 33% of the office space in Chicago is vacant. 31% in Houston, 30 in Dallas, 27 in San Francisco, 26 in Atlanta, 25 in LA. Those aren't small cities, guys, with just a few office buildings. Those are metropolises with lots and lots. I mean, these are some of the most highly populated cities in the country. Okay. Here's the problem. There are loans that are written by banks for these properties that the owners are not collecting rent on. You don't collect rent on the property that you own, you can't pay the note on it. Okay? Makes it very difficult to pay off those loans to the bank. Big bank losses equal big bank failures. How much money does the FDIC have to bail out a lot of banks? Not enough. Guaranteed not enough, right? And if Biden writes a check to do it by printing more money to bail them out, we have even more inflation, which makes all our bills go up even more, okay? Face it, okay, all of us, nobody's coming to save us, all right? You're not a big donor to the DNC. You're not going to be made whole, and the government doesn't have the capital to feed you, okay, period, all right? I know, everybody else knows. We're all on our own, okay? And more people need to realize this. More people need to know that 11 banks got downgraded last week, okay? The U.S. government is going to collapse. We all know that. The dollar already is. We see that in the news constantly about all these other countries that are saying, we're India, Pakistan, going to trade amongst themselves, Russia, China, BRICS, the whole deal. Okay, dollar's collapsing. The dollar is the only thing that the government has, the politicians have, okay? Remember, all the government is a big slush fund for the rich and powerful for them to influence peddle around the world, okay? Well, you know what, Ukraine, we'll just give you a little bit of money, that's it. We'll just try to buy you off, okay? When there is no more money, or when it's worthless, those politicians have no more power. And they're no longer going to be able to buy your vote or influence peddle themselves around the world. Joe's famous. Fire the prosecutor. I'm leaving in 6 hours. Fire the prosecutor, or you're not getting the check. It's extortion. Okay. But that's all they have. Joe can't say, fire the prosecutor. And they go, oh, okay, because you're a Biden, right? Big effing deal. Please, guys, I'm begging you. When you get home tonight, mom and pop, sit down at the kitchen table, draw up a plan to get out of debt and to pay yourself before there's nothing left that you can do other than check into a FEMA camp, all right? If it means selling the extra car, do it, okay? If it means selling your prized collection of baseball cards to pay off the debt, do it, okay? What's going to be more important to you in the future, baseball cards or food? Okay? You're going to be able to, I'm not trying to spew doom and gloom here, guys. I'm trying to give you all what's really going on in the world. I mean, understand this. Right now, the United States is at 129% of debt to GDP, gross domestic product. Okay, that means if we took every penny from every person that was earned this year and every penny from every company on everything that was sold to somebody this year and put it toward the U.S. debt, we would still owe 29% of everything every person owned or earned next year and 29% of everything that was sold next year. At 140%, guys, we're 11% away, is when economies historically collapse. That's how close we are. But Washington wants to raise the debt ceiling because we'll do it better this time, right? One of your preps absolutely has to be financial, okay? Money at home, cash, okay? Gold, silver, platinum, palladium, whatever floats your boat, okay? If you don't hold it, you don't own it, all right? And you can say, well, I hold 100 shares of Microsoft. I've got the stock certificate, BFD. Microsoft doesn't care, okay? Everybody needs to remember, you are not a priority for the government. You are not a priority for your bank. You are not a priority for your credit union. You are not a priority for your brokerage firm. You are not a priority for anyone, okay? Unless you are a George Soros or a Jeff Bezos or a Shelley Adelson or something like that, they're not coming to save you. They don't care, okay? You're just collateral damage that's in the way of them ascending to more and more power, okay? Remember this, okay? And everybody says, well, I've got all this stuff. Even during the Depression, which I think we can pretty much all agree is probably the biggest financial disaster that we've seen in modern history, okay? People needed to buy things and people needed to pay bills, okay? That's not going to change when the Democrats finish their total destruction of the country, okay? Beans, Band-Aids, and bullets are great to have. Don't get me wrong. I got them all, okay? But you're not going to keep your land, or you're not going to keep the lights on by offering 27 cans of beans and 2 boxes of ammo to the tax office. And they are going to expect you to pay. Plan accordingly. Pinball out.